Welcome to the How You Got Started podcast, helping you find your passions by hearing stories of entrepreneurs that are living theirs. Today, we're speaking with Nathan Skoufis, head instructor and owner of Guelph Family Martial Arts. He's also a 24-time world champion for martial arts, so I'm so excited to speak with him today. Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining me.
Thank you for having me on.
So, Nathan, tell me, how did you get started in martial arts?
It's been a long time since I started. I was age 4 when I got into it. Getting started into it, I didn't really know what it was. I mean, I watched, a little bit of the Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles. I think a lot of kids back then. Mm-hmm. I'm aging myself a bit, I think, but
love the Ninja Turtles.
I mean, it was fun in the beginning, but I think like a lot of things, once the novelty kind of wears off, and then you realize, okay, this is about discipline, and there's a routine, and there's steps on progressing to your black belt. I thought it would be maybe at that age like a 1 month or 2 month thing. But I think a lot of the things that I've learned through it now, really has developed me into, the person and the man that I am today. And I think a lot of the principles that I've learned through martial arts, competing and teaching and all the different things that's brought to my life, it's, I think, really difficult to put into words, but it's kind of become my whole life, and all the different things it's introduced have been, really special for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, what are some of those principles that you were taught and then now you teach here?
And martial arts, I think when I was doing it, it's 26 years in 1 week that I've been doing it.
Wow.
I think a lot of the things that it's taught me, it was a little bit different than, the instructors and the environment in general. I mean, a lot of people who have done martial arts could probably speak to this. It was a little more intimidating back then, for sure. There wasn't a lot of kids involved in it. I think now we really utilize martial arts as a vehicle that facilitates personal growth and development, but, instilling really life skills like focus and respect, discipline, self-confidence, courtesy, stress coping strategies, self-regulation methods, how to deal and being able to combat things like anxiety, fear, self-doubt. I think that are things that all of us deal with, kids or adults. So that's a thing that's really built into our program, more than just it being punching and kicking and physical strength. Connecting and being able to calm down your mind and connect, I think, the mental side to the physical side is something we for sure do here at the studio.
Oh my gosh, we could all use that. So it's Guelph Family Martial Arts.
Guelph Family Martial Arts.
Is that because you teach families, like you teach adults and children, or is it also because your mom is involved? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's a sport and an activity. I always say this about the studio. In 1 month, it's going to be our 10th year of Guelph Family Martial Arts being in the community and existing. But I think one of the things for me and why we named it Guelph Family Martial Arts, when I was training, we've trained, and competed kind of all over the world, but the studio for me was a studio that I always would have wanted to train at, but it never existed. That's, kind of why we developed the studio. But when you come in, we want you to feel welcomed, whether you're a 3-year-old or a 75-year-old student. We want you to feel welcome. We want you to feel like you're part of a family, you're part of a community, and I think that way there's a sense of belonging, and it's not just, an activity or you're going through the exercises. So I guess the family aspect for us, when somebody comes in, because whatever the situation might be in their life at school or their life at home, when they come in here, they know that there's people that care about them, and there's, more than an instructor, it's somebody that they can feel comfortable talking to about their day and working through the exercises. But family has definitely been, I think, a big thing for me. When I was doing martial arts, I didn't love it. And a lot of people know that story, but it's not something I was really interested in, maybe for the first year, probably till around there. And the novelty kind of wore off. It wasn't really interesting anymore for me as a kid. Because it's a routine, it's the same thing over and over again. So I wanted to give up. I would tell my mom every class, I want to do other things. I don't want to do martial arts.
And look at you today. Sorry, continue. I just think that's amazing.
And I think for kids too, it's important to tell them that I was not, if you would have come into my class as a white belt, a yellow, all the way up, not many people would have thought, even I would have got to my black belt, and then not even, let's say, compete at a world championships for sure. She was definitely the one person that believed in me. She knew all the benefits that it had even all those years ago, which was not a huge sport for kids. And then she joined martial arts to keep me involved, and I was like, I can't let my mom get a black belt, and then, you know what I mean, I stopped.
That's awesome.
She joined, we got our black belts together, and then, I mean, the rest I think is pretty much history, but it's, the studio, we developed it because, you know, this was the studio that I would have always wanted to train at. And I probably would have liked martial arts a lot more as a kid if it was a place where the instructors, I mean, discipline was important, but they were, you know, they were not in a very accepting way. You know, they were a little bit aggressive. So I think offering that to children now and, you know, being a role model for them, but also being a friend, I think is something really important.
Well, that's amazing. And I've met your mom, and she is just absolutely lovely. And I think that's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. That you both got your black belts together. And I've seen on the wall behind me that she has won world champions as well.
So we would do all the tournaments together. You need somebody who believes in you, even when maybe you don't, because it's not all, whatever you're doing. I mean, I tell everybody this, it's not always going to be easy. People are not always going to believe in you, and you're not going to believe in yourself. You're gonna doubt yourself. Everybody does. You know, when you go, so many times as kids, we'd fly across the globe. You'd go to a tournament. Sometimes it would go well, and sometimes you'd lose your first fight, and you're out of the tournament, and then you're there for a week, and you're flying back. I think it really challenges you as a person, and having a role model and having somebody who's with you, who it doesn't matter if you win first place or you finish 100th place, I think is a really important thing. I mean, driving us to practices and everywhere, tournaments, and, you know, really sacrificing a lot of her time, I think, to get us to that point. When really I was telling everybody, I want to be world champion. You know what I mean? It was like 5, 6 years old, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, thank you, right? Okay, buddy, you're doing great. And but she's competed. She's had a lot of success in martial arts, and I think when you do it with a family member, it creates a bond that I think transcends really everything. I mean, it's brought us closer together for sure. We're here at the studio all the time together. She's my coach in tournaments. But I've been very fortunate to, you know, have a role model, and, you know, in the future, if I have my own kids, I'd like to be half of kind of a role model that she was for me and my brother, and done for sure.
That's so lovely. That's so nice to hear. So tell me a little bit about your championship wins. Like, you were saying something about how you're coming up to 11 in a row?
Yeah, so the Canadian Open Championships, it's been 10 consecutive years that I've won.
Wow. What do you attribute to winning? Like, what's the key to success for you?
You've got to enjoy it, and I think you have to do it for yourself. I think a lot of people do it because their identity is tied into it, or it's one of the things they're good at in their lives. But I think unless you enjoy it, I don't know if you're going to view it as work, and you're going to be checking the clock. You know, how long have I been here? Competing, I think, did that for me. Back then, it was like you'd stand in front of a mirror, and there'd be adults around you. You're the only kid, and you'd punch 1, 2, like, you know, how the Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, and it was like, oh my God, there's like nobody to joke. There's just things as a kid you want to do. When I started competing, though, I loved it. When I started sparring with partners, it became not so much theory-based anymore. You were actually with a partner, and you were working on those moves. And I think what tournaments brought out, it was, you would see, because the feedback was instant. When you're sparring with somebody, you found out what worked and what didn't work.
Back in the day, when I would think about like karate or any type of martial arts, there was a big push for kids to do it, especially if they were bullied. I feel like, you know, like you said, Cobra Kai, or watching
Karate Kid.
Yeah, Karate Kid. You know, I'm doing the
wax on.
something. Yeah, there was always a bully in the storyline. Is that still a narrative that people talk about when they come in, or are they coming in for different reasons?
The students we work with, you see a lot of different reasons of why they're coming in. There's a lot of bullying that still exists in schools now. Maybe not it's not as clear in person because there's social media and there's phones and everything now, but definitely still exists. I mean, we go to a lot of schools and, speaking about anti-bullying, and I think martial arts is important for somebody that may have a bully, not to, people come in and they say, like, I'm going to fight my bully. You can't solve your problems with violence. You just can't. There's, you've got to work, another way around it. I mean, martial arts for sure for somebody that's getting bullied, I think, is one of the most important things you could put your child into, or yourself, for self-confidence, respect, and then I think realizing where the bully's coming from. A lot of places, it's it's internal, what they're dealing with, and that's coming out to other people. We hear all the time, hurt people, and
just going to say that, yeah.
I think for the bully too, though, it's important to do martial arts, because when you're in here and we were talking before this, and directing all that excess energy into a positive avenue, I think is so important. But I think for anybody, whether you're somebody who's getting bullied or you're somebody who's lashing out at other people, it's an essential thing to get involved into. We work now, the program has expanded, looking back, because it's our 10th anniversary. I keep pointing because my mom's over there, but the 10th anniversary, and seeing where the studio started to, where it's progressed now, and how martial arts has really developed in the community, and how it's, I think, developed as a sport for students. But working with children on the autistic spectrum, we've made huge improvements with students. Adults that, they're maybe something they haven't found a purpose in their life, or somewhere that they feel that they belong. And they come in, and when they step in the door, they go, this is the first place that I felt that I actually belong to something that's bigger than myself. So when we first started, it was like one class, maybe 3 days a week, and then we're here pretty much all day now, from morning till night. It's become a place where people will come in, and maybe they're not training that day, they just come in to talk and joke around a little bit. It's become really a community resource for people, and for me, there's nothing more rewarding competing anything else. You want people to feel that you're making an impact on people's lives. So I think to be able to do that, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing, really.
Amazing. And when people come in here, they know that they're working with an expert, people that are winning championships. You've put in the work from the time you were 4. So you have the experience, you understand what they're going through. You understand that stage when they're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and you can push them. That's amazing. What else is Guelph Family Martial Arts involved in?
I've been very fortunate that I've been a lifetime resident of this area, and since the studio and my competitive career as a kid, everybody has really supported me big time through everything. So we really appreciate that, everybody that's watching, and the community. But I think being able to support the community that supported you, and trying to give back as much as you can. But we're involved with so many different organizations now, that are really, trying to make the community a better place for everybody, and, providing as much opportunity. But that could be the, an ambassador for the Guelph General, or an ambassador for the Children's Foundation, that are really having a big impact on the community as a whole. And with our leadership group that we have here at the studio, and our assistant instructors, that's a big part, that, getting out into the community and realizing that your problems of what's going on, and putting into perspective and broadening your perspective, you go, okay, I've got to try to get involved in a meaningful way. The studio here, I've never viewed it as a business. People always say, your business, how long? But it's about helping people and trying to spark positive growth in the community. And the more that you can do that, and the more people you affect, it has a ripple effect. You may impact 5 people or 1 person, but then they take that forward in all their other interactions once they leave the studio. So
I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Tell me a little bit about, I know we had talked about, Instagram life, everything being perfect, and, showing just that one side of you, when really we're all struggling. We all have struggles. Do you have any challenges that you'd be comfortable sharing that you've had to get through in life that, have brought you to where you are today?
There's been a lot. How much time do we have? Okay, in my martial arts journey, me wanting to give up, but then instructors or people you're involved with, or friends, so me saying I want to be world champion, they're like, nobody from Guelph is going to be a world champion. Like you're not, people that are going to do that are naturals right away. So then dealing with that, it's like, okay, maybe they're right. Like maybe I'm not going to be able to do it. And, it's for other people that I'm never going to be world champion. I'm never going to get my black belt. It's an impossible goal. And I believed in myself, but there's always that voice that says, you're not going to be able to do it.
Yep.
In everything you're doing. And I think everybody watching, I think that's something we all have and we're working through at different stages. And I remember we were at a training camp once, and there was an instructor that came up and said, your other son is really great, and Nathan, like, you're just wasting your time by having him in it. He's never, just like maybe look at other sports, other things, he can like watch his brother, but he shouldn't be doing it.
Wow.
And then when I won, there was a lot of instructors like that because they weren't really used to dealing with kids. And then they'd come up to you and they say, I know you could do it. I knew you could, when I won my first world title, I knew you could do it. And I always said if I was going to work with kids, you've got to try to make them they believe they can do it, even if they can't, even if they don't believe themselves. Because I was the furthest thing from somebody who was naturally talented. But I mean, even personal, professional, being able to balance all those things and the sacrifices that, you put in, because I'm here training till whatever time. And, there's a lot of different sacrifices that you make with family, with personal relationships, trying to balance everything. And because everything needs a little bit of time, but it's like, there's only so much there. So I think the balance of me being here at 19 when we started the studio in first year university and traveling and competing, and people are like, you're going to have to pick one because you're never going to probably win a tournament as soon as you start teaching people. Like your competitive side is over, you can just forget about it. Or you're in university, so how are you going to start a business? It's impossible. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. What did you take in university?
Business.
Oh, okay.
Everything happens for a reason sometimes, and you may not know when you're on the path or things are happening or one door closes and you're like, oh no. But then I just really believe that everything happens for a reason. And the path that you have in life may be different from somebody else, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. No, yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say to everybody, we all have our own challenges. People always look at my life and I think they think there's no challenges going on or there's no adversity that you have to overcome. But there definitely is. I mean, being able to balance everything, there's a lot of sacrifices that you make personally and professionally and relationships that are going on in your life and family and events that you're not able to be there. I mean, I love what I do, but there's definitely that side of it that you're sacrificing, certain things that are going on.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned your mom a lot and how lovely she is, and she is lovely. What about your dad?
He was definitely involved. He would really push me as a kid. Like, we would play soccer against each other. We'd be running against each other. We would play all sports. We would go out and he'd say, if you're going to do something, try to do your best. Because if you're not doing your best, not to be first place or 10th place, but just whatever you do, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So try to, whatever you're doing, do your best at it. And if you do your best, I think the rest will kind of take care of itself. Would
you say you have like a specific philosophy, like a life philosophy that you live by?
One of the philosophies that it's really influenced my whole life is tough times don't last, but tough people do. So how difficult the situation is, you should always tell two options. You either give up or you continue on. And I think developing that resilience and that, the ability to persevere when things may be challenging and overcome that obstacle is something that, for me now, is one lesson that I think I carry with me in everything I do.
Amazing. I got goosebumps when you said that, so it's a good one. What are you excited about? Like, what's coming up for you?
This year I'm going to be competing a little more than I have in recent years, so I'm definitely excited about that. It's a passion. I mean, it's exciting. I've been doing it for so many years, but it's still exciting when you get out there and you're preparing for something. Yeah, I love competing. I would do it definitely more if I could. So definitely some of the international tournaments that are coming up I'm excited for, and being able to compete there and test my skills, I think, against some of the best people in the world. I mean, here at the studio, always it's so much deeper than martial arts, and how many children can you influence in a positive way, and adults too. A book that's in the works, I don't know if I should have said it, but it's okay.
Tell us more about that.
We have a lot of resources that we read to kids and different emotions that we're all working through. So for years, it's been, families have been saying it would be really helpful if there was a resource that, dealing with anger and different things that, my children and even myself I'm dealing with. Just really trying to do as many things as I can through martial arts, and all the amazing things that it's really brought to my life is, kind of the next step. But the book will be, I think, a new challenge.
That's exciting. And you said too, you mentioned before that there's a podcast coming up that you're doing in Toronto? Yeah,
so we're going to be going to Queen's Park. Martial arts has brought so many interesting, different people that we've met. You eventually pinch yourself. I mean, we were at Queen's Park recently. And I think, meeting the premier or meeting different MPs and mayors and people you're meeting, and you're going, well, I'm really here. And, you have to pinch yourself because it doesn't seem like reality all the time. The Minister of Mental Health, he's also been involved in martial arts and as a black belt. So that connection, and I think the connection that has with, physical health, always everybody looks at exercise, but the mental health. And I mean, podcasts like this that you're doing and getting out stories, I think is I think a long form interview is really important. That stories maybe people don't hear all the time, and challenges maybe you think you're the only one going through and you feel isolated. I think these are so important. So I mean, this podcast has been fantastic. I've been really happy to be here. Yeah, going to Queen's Park is definitely a really special thing, and I think the history there and being able to be part of that and a lot of the things has been really special.
It's amazing. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And all the wonderful things that you're doing. So yeah, there's definitely a connection with mental health and moving your body. A lot more research has come out where when you squeeze your muscles, it releases the happy endorphin. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's definitely a connection there. And I'm assuming that when you're here, you feel almost like a bit like counselors.
You're seeing people in a very vulnerable way, and they're opening up to you because they feel comfortable. And I mean, that's a rare thing to be able to find now. When people feel vulnerable and they know that they can open up to you, and they're not going to be judged. They can feel comfortable saying whatever they want, and getting that out there is something we're very fortunate to be involved with a lot of amazing families. But when I'm here, you definitely feel, you're more than an instructor. And for a lot of, I think when I was training, a lot of people, it was just like a job. It was just, they were teaching the 6 o'clock class.
Right.
And then at the end, they're like, great job, everybody. And they were gone. It's, I mean, I'm here way, some nights really, really late, just because it's not so much about the physical side. It's people just want to talk sometimes, and we all need that. We need somebody that feels like we can interact, and there's no judgment.
Yeah.
There's kids and adults.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, especially now, there's so many things going on. Sometimes we forget to take time for ourselves. And we feel guilty, so many parents, I can't take time to do my own class. It's but you need to. Yeah. And the same way that you're on an airplane, they say before you have to put your mask on first before you help somebody else. We have to be taking care of ourselves in order to help other people, and in order to be there for other people. So I think sometimes it's a counselor, sometimes you're an instructor, somebody you're there to just give somebody a hug. You're there, somebody just needs to cry once in a while. It's not a typical day ever.
Right. And it's not just a job, it's a life.
It's a passion.
A passion for you, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
If you have someone that wants to get involved, what's the best thing for them to do? How do they connect with you? Yeah,
if you even go on the website, I always tell people, just come in and, even try a class, just come in and walk through the door and watch a class, because you hear so many times, I'm not in good enough shape. I'm going to get in better shape to start.
Right.
By being here, you'll get in better shape. And if it's not martial arts, I just tell people you need to get active, get into something. This is definitely an environment that people feel welcomed, and it's there's no ego. You know, when you went to martial arts before, it was like everybody was kind of like, all right, there's no ego here. So when you come in, whatever age you're at, you know, if it's for yourself, it's for, you know, a child, if it's for a grandchild, I think just really get into it. It will change your life into wherever you see yourself, whatever goal, it might be your personal goal. If it's fitness related, whatever it's related, this will get you closer to that. And I think, yeah, really come in. It's a life-changing thing. I mean, we're here for, you know, whatever age you might be or whatever stage of life too.
Amazing. I just want to mention the whole one side of this facility is lined with these giant trophies. What is this from? Where are these from?
These are some in the front here. So there's like a world tour. There's the biggest, I would say, 12 tournaments in the world. Because kids always go to tournaments and they're like, they only gave me a medal. How do I get that trophy, right? It's, I mean, those are the big tournaments, you know, Diamond Nationals and U.S. Open, different tournaments that we've been involved. And
how do you even carry that home? Like from
the plane is a and then they're like, we're gonna have to break it apart or.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, they've always come back, okay, but. Sometimes they put them in their own seat, or sometimes they put them in the front of the plane.
Yeah.
Sometimes the pilots take them in the. It's been different interesting stuff.
Yeah.
They're hard to get home. I'll say, yeah, they're taller than me.
Yeah,
some of them.
I think some of them are. Yeah, definitely. Most of them are taller than me. That's not hard. Okay. All right. Well, you know, it's been wonderful talking with you, and I can feel how passionate you are about what you do and what you give back to your community. And that's lovely, and I appreciate your time. So thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for everything you're doing and spotlighting these stories. It's really important.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. The offer is your first class free here at the Guelph Family Martial Arts, and the HUGS discount code for that is HUGSGFMA for Guelph Family Martial Arts. So HUGSGFMA, you get a class for free, you can check it out, get a feel for it, and I'm sure you will love every minute of it, and the people here as well. So thank you so much, have a great day, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.